Welcome back, listeners, to a brand new episode of the New Standard. And once again, you're seeing myself on the show solo. Want to let you guys know Big Neil is going to give us a show tomorrow. So make sure you stay tuned for that. I'm not sure what time, but Big Neil is going to do a show tomorrow. As always, I want to thank everybody for participating in this show. We got some people hopping on. I want to apologize for the kind of the schedule jumping around. So hopefully we get some people on live so you can check out the program. But unfortunately, the Pittsburgh Steelers lose and drop a depressing game and a depressing first half performance, especially against a 2-10 at the time, I should say, New England Patriot team. The Steelers dropped this one 21-18. Surprisingly enough, that they still have playoff aspirations if by chance they can play some solid ball down the stretch. And I want to apologize to Kenny Pickett just a little. There is a little bit of a difference between Kenny Pickett and Mitch Trubisky. The difference being average and terrible. That's the difference between the two. One is average, one is ass. And so there is a difference between ass and average. And however, Mitch acquitted himself well. And thanks, Felicia. What's up, Felicia? What's up, Donovan? Um, and she makes a good point. What's up, Fifi? Well, I can't be too mad at Mitch because he can't throw and catch the ball or cover tight ends. We're going to jump into it. Very disappointing loss. I mean, the season sets up for you in a nice way where you face Jake Browning, you get Kyler Murray, and you get Bailey Zappi. They got beat by a guy named Bailey Zappi. Bailey Zappi is a band. He's not a starting quarterback. He's a band. They got beat by Bailey Zappi. Bailey Zappi. And VC hops on. He said, Mitch Butt-Iskey is hot garbage. I can't throw an out route on time. Corey Hatcher, I'm completely done with Tomlin. This is bad. I mean, they've hit absolute rock bottom, in my opinion. This season is over. Trubisky is cheeks. He's the right one. Pickett is probably the left cheek. This is bad. And, Felicia chimed in again. We lose to Bill no matter who he has at quarterback. But in the first half, you would have thought Bailey Zappi was Bailey Brady. Again, what you see from the Steelers in this game is they don't play well on the weighty downs. And it's unfathomable and unconscionable that in a game against a 2-win team with the quarterback Bailey Zappi that got shut out the week prior, your defense comes out and gets manhandled. I mean, absolutely manhandled. TJ Watt had no impact on this game. I mean, you've got a Bailey Zappi that was 18 of 20 for 240 yards, 3 touchdowns with a quarterback rating of 115. 115. You look at Mitch Trubisky, 22 of 35, 190, 75 rating. The other funny thing about the game book is Connor Hayward had a pass attempt. That was absolutely awful. I'm tired of George Pickens. I'm just tired of him whining. 5 targets or 6 targets, 5 receptions for 19 yards. It's almost impossible to get 5 receptions for 19 yards. But, you talk about TJ Watt, you talk about this defense, and, they held the Patriots to 4 of 13 on third down, but the Steelers' offense again, 3 or 14 on third down. But what's up with this Steeler defense? Great numbers going into this game. Great in the red zone, great scoring defense. Played very solid against passing games. You can see that their lack of depth at the inside linebacker position is killing this defense right now. But TJ Watt had 5 tackles in the game, no sacks, no tackles for loss, no quarterback hits, no fumbles, no forced fumbles. Was TJ Watt playing? And I know he got nicked up. Where was he? He had no impact in the game. Defense had 2 sacks, 2 quarterback hits. This is supposed to be a very good defense. This is where the money is. Where's Minkah Fitzpatrick? Did he play? Where are the playmakers on any side of the ball? None. No plays. No nothing. The Pittsburgh Steelers are officially on the clock. Corey Hatcher, big up C. Terrell Austin, cheeks. This is just bad. They have absolutely hit rock bottom. And you couldn't have had it set up better than the way they had it set up. Playing back-to-back games at home against terrible teams. And the reason why the show is called Sudden and Abrupt is because that describes the terrible call by the official on the long snapper who thought that his head movement was sudden and abrupt, which caused the Steelers with a false start. The other horrible thing of the game, Steelers had to call a timeout to go for it on 4th down, basically putting them in a situation where if they don't score, they're going to lose because they're not going to have enough time to get the ball back and drive it. Abysmal clock management, abysmal use of the timeouts, abysmal operational football by the coaching staff. This team was grossly unprepared the last 2 weeks. Lack of execution. And the thing about it is, and let me walk that back just a touch. They played a very clean football game. 1 penalty in the game, they still got beat. This was absolutely an ass cheeks performance. Ass cheeks performance. Absolute cheeks. The season's over. They're on the clock. Hopefully losing, and they did a stat, I think, on the broadcast that the Steelers are the first team above 500 to lose to 2 teams with 2 2-win teams in consecutive weeks. First time in NFL history. I mean, I can't defend Tomlin much. I can't defend Tomlin much. Now, here, let me jump into this comment, and thank you, Grayson, for the super chat. And I don't know how to judge this one. And Grayson said, I honestly think the NFL has passed Tomlin by. 15 years is a long time. Nothing will change until the message and philosophy grows. Interesting expected loss tonight. Now, I didn't expect a loss tonight. I picked 16-13, and if you're checking out the program, you're listening to The New Standard, hosted by yours truly, Lance Williams. Neil Coulon will bring you guys a show tomorrow. But let's break down this comment from Grayson. I honestly think the NFL has passed Tomlin by. Now, let's break that down. The NFL and a team in phases of NFL play consists of defense, offense, and special teams. Defensively, I do not think that the NFL has passed Tomlin by. Their use of combination coverages, post-snap movement, consistently getting pressure, consistently being a very good scoring defense, schematically being very complex and very multiple on defense. Defensively, I don't think the NFL has passed Tomlin by. Offensively, oh, he's in the rear view with dust. Anybody that employed Matt Canada as offensive coordinator for as long as he did, oh, absolutely. NFL offenses passed him. No use of play action, limited use of motions. It was just terrible. Having Matt Canada, I think it was 50 some odd games before you get 400 yards and you still only score 16 points. Big up to my brother, Big Pats fan. Congratulations on the victory. Hit me with a text and said, shit, the Patriots can't do anything right, but the only thing we can do right is beat the Steelers. It's still Foxborough West. Yikes. I got to hear his mouth tomorrow after the Steelers fumbled the rock. But the Steelers and the NFL being past Tomlin, absolutely on the offensive side of football. Absolutely. Absolutely. Defensively, no. Offensively, yes. But if you look at the two sides of the ball and what's more important in today's game, in my opinion, it's offense. It's being able to generate points. So if I'm going to weigh it on both sides, Grayson, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to agree with you. It's passed them by. The way they play offensive football, they will never compete for a championship. And right now, the way I feel about this team, about this franchise, the way it's moving, is the same way I felt about Bill Cowher before Bill Cowher won a championship. Now, hopefully, that is a good omen of things to come. But before Bill Cowher won a championship, you could ask anybody that knows me. I was absolutely convinced that Bill Cowher was never going to win a Super Bowl, ever. I saw him lose in such creative fashions in the AFC Championship that I was convinced he was not going to win a Super Bowl. However, he got Ben Roethlisberger. He won a Super Bowl. Mike Tomlin, Ben Roethlisberger wins a Super Bowl. It seems like the common factor is having a very good, competent quarterback. I just don't think Tomlin can identify one and or develop one. Let me jump into this comment from Grim LOKG. Come on, Lance. Once again, Spurs and Steelers down the same day. I'm going to sit back, listen, and smoke some kush and have a good show. Hey, man, at least the Lakers won. I've never been a Spurs fan. Trying to compare the Spurs to the Lakers is blasphemous, although the Spurs have played good ball. Spurs are ass cheeks as well. At least you got Wembanyama. Have fun with that. Pop needs to go just like Belichick needs to go. But I think this is Tomlin's Waterloo. I mean, I've been a staunch Tomlin guy. Grim, Grim LOKJ Tottenham. And my club lost to Aston Villa this week. It's not been a good, well, at least my Lakers won, but it's not been a good week of sports for me. But this was just an ass cheeks performance by the Steelers. And again, you're checking out this episode of the New Standard, Sudden and Abrupt. Thank you, Grayson, for the super chat. If you want to contribute to the program in that way, please hit me with a super chat. It is Christmas time. It's beginning to look a lot like super chat time. That's what it's starting to look like. Super chat time. Hit me with a like and subscribe. I mean, we talked about how the Steelers were winning these games. And they got the special teams play. Miles Killebrew must have heard about me and blocked another punt. They got the block punt. They got the turnover. They got Renegade played 2 or 3 times. L. Can't score 20 points. You couldn't give them 17 and they get 20. You cannot compete and be a serious team competing for a championship if you cannot score 20 points a game. They average 16. They got a block punt. Ezekiel Elliott decides to hustle. They can't get in the end zone. You can't. I mean, they got special teams made a play. This season's over. I'm not sure if I'm going to pick the Steelers in any other game. And Ariel 75 brings up a great point. Why don't they spam George Pickens? How about that? How about, and here's the thing. Let me go back to the point with Grayson that Grayson made about offensive, the game being past Tomlin, and me agreeing, and me talking about Tomlin's inept on the offensive side of football. I just want to give you guys some numbers from a game that was played earlier this week on Monday. Let me give you the name, not the name, but let me give you the numbers of Cincinnati's backup quarterback Browning. 32 of 37, 354, 115.5 rating. Chase had 12 targets, 11 receptions for 149 yards. They did that on the road against the team that was the 1 seed. That game that Browning played is better than any game in Kenny Pickett's career. It's better than any game in Mitch Trubisky's career. It is a better offensive game that any quarterback has played for the Steelers since Ben Roethlisberger. Does anybody have any faith that a Mike Tomlin staff, an offensive staff, could help a backup quarterback produce a performance like Browning, 32 of 37, 354? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They had Matty Matt Canada as coordinator for a year. It's time. It's time. I don't want to overreact. I said they need to get rid of Tomlin weeks ago. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. Let me jump into some other comments. Corey Hatcher chimed in, walking me off the cliff. Pickens doesn't necessarily run great routes routinely. I agree. However, catch radius is fantastic. He competes for the football. He is the one player on that offense that provides some physical juice outside of a running back in Warren that was undrafted that's better than your first round draft. Anyway, let me jump into the comment, and thank you, Grimlock G. Woosah, much love. Big up to Ronnie Levis. Yeah, man. And Corey said there is zero chance. There is zero chance. The truth hurts. The truth is, for Steeler fans, there is zero chance. I agree, Corey. There is zero chance that this staff could get anyone prepared to perform like Browning did. Hey, man, we're finding out that it ain't Canada. It ain't Pickett. It ain't Trubisky. It ain't Sullivan. It ain't this other dude. It's Tomlin. Offensive football for the Steelers is terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And I know how that could happen. I know it's easy to foresee how that could happen. You've got a Hall of Fame quarterback that you can entrust with the management of the offense, then you can manage other stuff. It's not a bad thing. Now, when you have to manage all of it and get the offense right too, along with managing the other stuff, you tread water. The Steelers are treading water. But let me break it to you. Another thing, and I don't want to get Mason. I don't want Mason to get snaps. He's cheeks too. He's no savior. He's horrible. Let me just say this. Even if the Steelers had beaten the Cardinals and Patriots, still ass cheeks. Everything you see is still what you see. It's not a team that's competing for a championship. It's a middling team. It's a 15 to 20 team. That's what it is. It would have been a team that beat up on a bunch of Sisters of the Poor and got smacked in the playoffs. Now, I'm not going to begrudge getting to the playoffs and getting smacked, because you got to get smacked in the playoffs to have an opportunity to win a championship. Now, looking forward, I'm not sure how, if you're a Steeler fan, and once again, Steelers, I think, were 6 of about 30 on third down conversions in the last 2 games. If you're a Steeler fan, you can't have any faith that they win any more games moving forward. I mean, this was the stretch where somehow they get to the playoffs and you go, damn, I don't know how that team got to the playoffs. And then Steeler fans complain about them getting bounced in the first round and not winning a playoff game in said years. Now, I bet you every Steeler fan would love to get to a playoff and get bounced. I'm not sure they're going on the road to beat the Colts. I'm not sure of that. Gardner Minshew is the best quarterback, going to be the best quarterback on both teams. I'm not sure they beat the Bengals. Browning is better than Trubisky. I'm not sure Pickett's going to be back, but Pickett ain't got a life jacket. I'm not too convinced about him either. I could see them losing that game. I could see them losing the Ravens game. I mean, I'm not sure. They're going to definitely lose to Seattle. I could definitely see that. And them losing the Ravens game. This could be the year Mike Tomlin doesn't have that winning record. And if Corky, and pick up the Corky's research, if you're saying Mason Rudolph is the best quarterback in the room, you got a problem. If he's your best quarterback in the room, you got a problem. You got a problem. I'm not stumping for Mason Rudolph. I hope they get the first round draft pick better. Because right now, if they don't develop Pickett and get Pickett better, it's super ass cheeks moving forward. You might as well just go ahead and get the new regime. I mean, right now, I'm not even sure they get to 500. And Corey is saying maybe they get to 500. Ariel 75. If we draft a quarterback, there's no way we bring 10 back next year. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Ravens Cal jumped in and said, your defense is ass too. Pats got shut out 5 days and put up 21 in your house. Ravens Nation loves to see it. That's how, and thank you, Ravens Ka, for chiming into the show. Hit me with a like and subscribe. Let other Raven fans know about the show as well. And that's what the Steelers deserve. A Raven fan hopping onto the best Steeler podcast and talking shit. That's what the Steelers deserve. That's what they gonna get. And like Ice Cube said, no Vaseline, dog. No Vaseline, dog. I'm just freestyling at this point. I'm very disgusted by this performance. I'm disgusted that I got to hear my brother rip me and say, hey, the only thing at least we could do is we could beat y'all. But let me jump into this super chat. Big up Grayson. Man, thank you for opening the pocketbooks. And he said hindsight, held on to Ben too long, missed out on 2020 QB class, held on to OC for 3 years of worst production in franchise history. Won't see a legendary player like 90 win a ring because of Tomlin era in much loved lands. The Ben Roethlisberger thing, I don't think you have a choice. He's a franchise guy. He's going to go out on his own terms. I know when I say that, people hate to hear that. Guys that win get to go out typically, well, at least in Pittsburgh. If you win, you're going to go out on your own terms. Held on to the OC for 3 years? Absolutely. I don't understand that. And that's the other thing. And I think it is a little bit of an indictment on Tomlin that none of his coordinators get plucked for big jobs and so on and so forth. And part of being a very good head coach, I think, is picking very good coordinators and very good coaches. You know, he had a very good coach in Mike Munchak, had a solid coach in Bruce Arians, had solid defensive coaches. Well, his best defensive coach, well, we all know, the Hall of Famer, and he was here before he came. But it's just, to me, it's the offensive side of football. I don't have faith that they're going to develop the offensive side of football. Losing to awful teams, unfortunately, a lot of teams do lose to bad teams. And here's the thing, right? Here's the thing, right? Let me jump into Corey Hatcher's comment. He says, sorry, Lance, but F the Ravens fan, get your ass out of here talking. LOL. Hey, man, I work with a Ravens guy, a cool guy. And I mean, I feel you, Ronnie Levis. Good night, too, sir. I mean, I've rambled long enough. The Steelers are officially on the clock. And it's just unfortunate. They had an opportunity this year to get to the playoffs and get that ass waxed. And I'm just, uh, I just am disappointed in the fact that I won't see the Steelers get their ass whooped in the playoffs. I'm just disappointed that I won't get to see that. It's so bad this year. My wife's a 49er fan. It is absolutely a dumpster fire. And I came up to my wife and said, hey, how you doing? She's like, hey. I said, you know what? The 49ers are the Kings of Pennsylvania. I said this to her right after they absolutely destroyed the Eagles. I was like, hey, they're the Kings of Pennsylvania. And, because she's a loving wife, she laughed, not loudly. She kind of said, she sort of laughed. So, and big up to my wife, 24 years of blissful marriage. And she just laughed at me like, and she stuck the knife in, but it was gentle. It was a couple of quick jabs before the prison guard broke us up, and she had to give back the shiv. And she did the same thing when the Niners kicked the Steelers' ass in week 1. She kind of said, guess I can leave early and get to my errands. Look like this game's gonna be over. All I can say is this: Steelers freak, Neil is going to give you his soft approach tomorrow. I don't know. I wanted you guys to get late night Neil. Late night Neil is epic, but you might get early morning Neil, which is also epic. It's been a uneventful year of Tomlin-led football. Yep. And Neil is going to go no Vaseline. just spit and rubbing hands. And with that, we are going to conclude the program. And as always, tune in, tell a friend, and subscribe. Season's over.